Hi everybody, my name is Dave and I'm here just to talk to you a little bit about getting cheap health insurance today. And just a little bit of my background. I am a former financial advisor, health, life, and disability insurance agent. So I have a little bit of background about this. And also, I am an individual health insurance consumer. So I've gone through the process. And, as being a self employed entrepreneur, I know a little bit about trying to get cheap health insurance. Being that I do not have access to a group plan. Now, let's get started. The first thing about getting cheap health insurance is you want to make sure that you don't have access to a group plan. If you do, let's say if you're over the age of 25 and you do have access to a group plan, check out what their rates are first, and then compare them against what you might be able to get. Do an apples to apples comparison, same companies, same benefits, and see if you can get it a cheaper rate in your group plan. Now, let's just say you've gone to those steps. You checked your university, you checked your social clubs, you checked all your angles to see if you can get a group plan, and you can't. It's time to go for an individual policy. What I would do is, first of all, it's not like the rates for insurance companies are always changing, and there some companies, depending on where they are in their fiscal year and how well they're doing in their business, are going to be offering better rates for apples to apples comparisons. So you want to go to a reputable comparison site that is known for having cheap rates, basically the cheapest rates, and see an apples to apples comparison to see which ones are giving the best rates. I like eHealth Insurance. I think that they have the most rates out there from pretty much every company you can find. I don't really see that there are companies that are hiding in the wings around somewhere. Like sometimes if you go to like a Travelocity, uh, you won't see Southwest Airlines on there because they don't use comparison shopping sites like that. There might be some companies out there that don't use those sites. And you can take a look at those, but I like eHealth Insurance because it's pretty comprehensive. Now, having said that, if you want cheap health insurance, you've got to first thing is you got to understand what's cheapest. Okay, HMO is cheaper than PPO and is cheaper than POS. You have less flexibility about who you can go to, but if you really don't care who your doctor is and you're usually happy with anybody, go with an HMO. There's usually a little bit more bureaucracy with that, and if you want to see a specialist, usually you have to see you have to get a referral. With PPO, usually you can there's a huge network to choose from, and you can pretty much go to anybody straight up. The hassle and added expenses of going through a referral is something I usually like to avoid, and there's a lot of opportunities to get PPOs for cheap. Okay, the next thing that is really going to bring the price down is a high deductible and a high co-insurance. Now, here's why I like to have a high deductible and a low co-insurance. Okay, the deductible is how much you'll spend total in a year. Okay, so if your deductible is 1,000, that's the most that you can spend. The insurance company is going to pick up everything else, assuming you have a 0% co-insurance. A co-insurance is what percentage of the bill you're going to have to foot. Okay, so if you have 0% co-insurance, it's 0% on you. But if you have a 30% co-insurance, it's 30% on you. So, if you have a $5,000 deductible, let's say you're able to come up, if you had an emergency, you're able to come up with $5,000. That's the most that you're ever going to have to spend if you have a 0% co-insurance. Typically, I find that the lower the deductible is, the way higher the premiums are going to go. The premiums will go higher as opposed to co-insurance. So, I find that it's better to save money on the and make the co-insurance low. In case you have a $100,000 surgery, you're not stuck with a $30,000 bill. You're stuck with a $5,000 bill. And at that point, at $5,000, or even at $3,000, the insurance company is saying to themselves, okay, hey, we were probably not going to have to spend any money on this guy this year. So they're going to make their insurance premiums pretty low. But the lower that you go, if you go to $1,000 for deductible, they're saying, oh, we might have to spend some money. This guy's going to put out $1,000 this year, but he might go for a ton of checkups, or you might have to get some kind of extra procedure or something like that. He might want to cash in on his insurance policy once he hits that $1,000, and then your premium is going to go way up. So if you want cheap health insurance, then go with a low with a high deductible, $4,000 or $5,000, and keep yourself in good shape. That way, you don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to go for regular scheduled checkups. You can take all of those bells and whistles out. You don't need to get the alternative care. You don't need to get, instead of getting $20 copays, you can have $40 copays. Instead of getting, any, the best prescription drug coverage or something like that. Exercise, eat right, keep yourself in good health. And that's the best way to lower your health insurance premiums and get cheap medical insurance, okay? And if you want to hedge your bets, then keep your co-insurance low. But if you're willing to say, okay, I can handle 30% or 20% co-insurance or even 50%, then you're really going to lower your premiums. You'll be able to get cheap health insurance. But at that point, it's like, do you really need somebody to cover half your bill? I don't know. That's really up to you. You're going to have to judge how much you might be able to spend in an emergency. If it's only $1,000 and you can handle the monthly nut of having a $1,000 deductible and a 0% coinsurance, then go for that one and try to eliminate as many bells and whistles on your policy as possible to keep it cheap. If you're saying I never go to the hospital, I rarely need anything, and I just might want this thing, I might want to get actually good care if I go to the hospital, and just show them that I actually have some insurance, then go for the high co-insurance and the high deductible, and at least when you go to the hospital, you won't be treated like second-class citizen. But you will, if there's an emergency, have to foot a larger bill. So those are my recommendations for getting cheap health insurance. Unfortunately, there's really no good way to save on your medical expenses unless you hide something from the insurance companies, which I do not recommend doing, unless you think you might want to take advantage, like you've always wanted to go for a lot of checkups or something, and you haven't gone because you haven't had insurance, and now that you have insurance, you're going to take advantage. If you do that, make sure that you have your rate locked in for at least a good amount of time, because if you start costing the insurance company a lot of money, that's going to be put on your permanent health record, and your insurance premiums are going to be much higher for the rest of your life. So make sure, you almost have to make sure like the insurance companies are making money off you, else in the future you're going to have sky-high insurance policy premiums. And again, just comparison shop, because sometimes Kaiser's going to have the best rate for you. Sometimes Blue Cross, Blue Shield is going to be the best rate. I can't really tell you what's going to be the best for you. That's going to be entirely up to what comes up based on your area, based on your age, you're a smoker, you're a non-smoker. There's so many different variables in insurance. So you need to go to a good website that does good comparison shopping. Make sure that you compare apples to apples on almost every last detail that's on that breakdown sheet for the premium. eHealth Insurance, I think they do the best job. Check out my site, buyingindividualhealthinsurancetips.com. It's up there on the right. To get some more tips. I talk more in depth about some other topics. I hope that this was helpful for you, and good luck buying cheap health insurance.